Are we good to go? We might be good to go. We should be live now, though, I think. Just gonna get comfortable in the chair. There we go. Now we're good. We're good. We good. There we go. Stuff sweet. I got that 175. Then we just gotta put that little that needs to go away. Make that here, Q. And then boom. We go and make that so. We need to put that up, don't we? Here we go. Yeah, sweet. And then Q. All right, I think we're good to go. Sup, Shredders. My name is Logan, aka Spiderhands, and welcome to an SB Livestreams where today it's $5 song requests number 23. We have just opened up commissions, I think, if I'm not mistaken. They are open now. So if you want to go through Ko-fi to request a track, you can do. You can also just hang out. We can just chill for a bit, depending on, see how the day goes. Hopefully you guys have had a good weekend so far. That is spilling. That's not ideal. You live and learn. There we go. It's not spilt too much, which is great. Really good. So note to self, don't half open a can and then try to shake it afterwards because it will not work. Just in case you needed someone on the internet to tell you that. Shall we have a look at the music news then? Music news. Music news. We'll make myself small. So I'll look at the music news, and then if we have time, we will do some Reaper stuff, and if we have requests, we'll do those. But yeah. Basically, that should be it. That should be it for today. Don't know what you guys been up to. I've been busy working since about 10 o'clock this morning. It's 4 o'clock now to be fair, so it's not like it's a long day. It's been a bit of a rush. But it's nice to sort of come down a little bit. Something a bit more sort of relaxed to do. So what's been happening? We got what's your favorite new music release of the week? Vote. Nah. Maren Morris says her family received scary death threats after she called out Morgan Wallen. I feel exactly the same way as I did that day. Maren Morris went through a scary time period after she called out Morgan Wallen 3 years ago, especially where her son was concerned. In a new interview on the Work in Progress podcast posted Thursday, August 29th, the 34-year-old musician opened up about the backlash she received immediately after slamming the Last Night singer for using a racial slur in 2021. Sup, sweet little love, how's it going? You okay? Been taking care of yourself? Hopefully you've been well. I'm learning today about Maren Morris and Morgan Wallen. Apparently he used a bad word. He used a racial slur. So that's obviously not ideal, if that's the case. If that's the case. I mean, the death threat portion for me as a young mother was obviously scary. And it wasn't death threats against me, it was against my son too. So it's like, wow, now we're involving the kids, the ones you cared so much about. That's pretty crazy, to be honest. Just gonna quickly check the limiter that I've got set up and stuff like that. I want to make sure it's okay because it was pretty quiet, like when I was looking through it before. Yeah, I don't know how much of that you actually heard. Sometimes OBS gets a bit funny when you put stuff through. But I was having an issue where I updated my SSL plugins, and then the SSL channel strip just completely disappeared. So I did a review, and then the audio was weird because of that. Yeah, been bit down for a bit, got long COVID, but coming back now. Good to hear you're doing better. That's awesome. Hopefully, we can continue to avoid COVID after this. I know it's very, very, very tricky and sneaky. And if we can avoid COVID and hopefully you feel well and things are good. Morris's son Hayes, whom she shares with her ex-husband, songwriter Ryan Hurd, was less than a year old when a video of Wallen using the N-word began circulating. The Cut singer joined Kelsey Ballerini, Mickey Guyton, and more country stars in admonishing the behavior by tweeting, "We all know it wasn't his first time using that word. We keep them rich and protected at all costs with no recourse." Yeah, it does seem like that's a bit of the vibe, to be honest. It does seem like they're protected if people are protecting them when they say words like that. And clearly that's not okay. Clearly that's not ideal. I'm sorry to hear that they have to go through that. It sucks. For his part, Wallen apologized 1 week after the video went viral. The video you saw was me on hour 72 of a bender, and that's not something I'm proud of. He said in the video statement, I accepted some invitations from some amazing black organizations, some executives and leaders, to engage in some really, very real and honest conversations. Did he get told off? And who else do we have in the chat today? We have, can I go here? Go in, I'll put them into DeepL. Here we go. So who else do we have today? I'm just going to translate that into DeepL. We have got Yip Xiong Lun. Sup, Yip Xiong Lun. How you doing? Hopefully you're having a good day today. Hopefully your weekend is going well. Why would she apologize? I don't understand why she'd apologize for that. It's not an excuse that he was on a bender. He did something terrible. You know, it's not good. And when someone's drunk, often they actually show their true colors, you know? He's probably just sad that he got caught. Stevie Wonder calls for unity in new song, Can We Fix Our Nation's Broken Heart? That's kind of beautiful. The legendary artist dropped a new track on Friday, 30th August, fittingly titled Can We Fix Our Nation's Broken Heart? Yeah, that's an interesting question, eh? I hope that he finds success with that. Stevie Wonder is an absolute gem. Loving the pieces, man. He's a great musician. Incredible music, eh? Incredible music over the years. New compilation presents weird disco, funk, jazz, and more from 1980s Soviet Central Asia. Musicians who've slammed Donald Trump for using their songs without permission. I don't really care about the politics. I'm not going to go into the politics, should I say. I do care, but I'm not going to go into the politics here. Adele, Beyonce, Brendan Urie, Celine Dion, Earth, Wind and Fire, Foo Fighters, George Harrison, Guns N' Roses, Isaac Hayes, Jack White, Linkin Park, Neil Young, Nickelback, Ozzy Osbourne, Pharrell, Prince, R.E.M., Rihanna, Rolling Stones, Tom Petty, Steven Tyler, Queen. I thought it was going to be a few, but then there were just all these musicians. That's crazy, man. Who I assume they had an issue. How does it work? You'd have to get the permission from the band potentially before you go and play it, right? Because that's like, especially in how charged things are, you'd have to get permission because you know, like that it would look. Actually, no, you wouldn't. You wouldn't necessarily be tricky. You'd at least get permission for commercial purposes, I suppose. Friday Dance Music Guide, the week's best new tracks from Zed, Swedish House Mafia with Alicia Keys, Tycho, and more. Yolanda Adams opens the church doors with first solo single in 10 years. This is not a drill. Megan Thee Stallion and BTS are teaming up again. Oh, did they already have a track together? That's crazy. That's kind of crazy, yeah. I mean, good on them, I suppose, you know. They're both quite successful. Wait, hang on. Is BTS back together? Are they out of hiatus now? Yeah, they must be, right? Yeah. I know that there's like a massive amount of like love for the BTS movement and the fans are really, really into them. Following day, BTS's account confirmed the news. The band wrote retweeting Meg's original post, coming soon. The news comes about 2 months after the WAP artist released her third studio album, Megan, which debuted in 103 in the Billboard 2000. BTS full band activities have been on pause as the members fulfill their mandatory military obligations in South Korea, with some of the boys dropping solo projects in the meantime. Right. Yeah. I mean, that's the power of social media, right? It's doing like little emojis and getting people hyped up, and like it's just an incredible amount of love. 250,000 likes. It's just wild, man. Suppose it's kind of cryptic though, to be fair, if you go back to it. Yeah, exactly. Stallion and hedgehog koalas coming soon. Sick. Good to know. Anything else here to talk about today? Patrick Mahomes says Taylor Swift has been drawing up plays for the Kansas City Chiefs. Great. I mean, that was Billboard. And is there anything on Rolling Stones? Batman scoops suffers medical emergency on stage. Okay. I mean, that sucks. I'm sorry to hear that. Barry Manilow claims company that bought music rights owes him $1.5 million. That's potentially a hot take depending on how things go with that. Camila Cabello announces new song Godspeed. Okay. Oasis wants Sculpt tour tickets will be cancelled, and Stevie Wonder wonders Can We Fix a Nation? No, I've already heard about that one, to be fair. Okay, though, we have a donation, though, or a request. Someone titled, I see. Here we go. So who do we have for an orb? Dun, 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 dun. We have a few. Oh, okay. Oh, did we just... Oh, I get it. All right, now that's cool. I get what's happening here. Thank you, Sweet Lily Love. Thank you, I appreciate that. So our first request for today, after looking through a lot of music news, is from an act named Sweet Lily Love, I assume, titled Flying. So it'd be good to check this out, eh? I haven't listened to Sweet Lily Love's stuff in a little while, but it's good, again, because they've been unwell from what I understand, but it'd be good to hear more of their stuff. I'm going to add that to the queue as well. Here you go. Thanks for your request. There we go. Sick. And then we've got Flying here. And then Flying. Cool. Boom. Let's do it. Listening time. Let's go. What do we have? Get the art up here for you. Great use of a filter in there. Thank you. I just want to sort of, again, so this is Sweet Little Love's track titled Flying. That bass just beforehand, and I'll go back a little bit so we can appreciate the build. That bass there was kind of, it sounded a little bit kind of lower mid focus there. So I was thinking this is uncharacteristic, because usually like the EQing and stuff is pretty spot on. And then the snares came through, and then it started to make sense. So that was good. That was a smart kind of like mix up there. So I'll go back a little bit here. There we go. Yeah, well done. That was cool. It legitimately sounded like it was glitching out, eh? And fantastic snare build there, well done. On that build there. Great use of vocal filtering at the end. So that was Sweet Lily Love, an original from them titled Flying. It definitely sounded like they were flying high. There was a lot of energy and excitement about it. There was a lot to sort of absorb within this track there. I think the message from the vocals was relatively minimalist, I think, to allow space for all the other instruments in the arrangement and composition to move forward. I think instantly we had all these synths around the sides there. Like if we go back a little bit to the start there, just kind of, yeah, like there were several different layers. There was little kind of keyish kind of da arpeggios there working with the pedal notes. The lower end and like there were pads as well there. There was just so much instantly to kind of capture you in that world. And then the vocals come in inevitably with the more of a bass focus as you sort of filter things and bring things up and down there. This track doesn't stay in one place for too long. There's constant shifts between, like a similar bass line there. We don't have crazy shifts with the chord progressions and stuff like that. It's just lots of different interpretations of a similar idea and sort of chord motif. And I think that a lot of the excitement again is from all those different instruments with the kind of really quick movements there. It's quite 1, 2, 3, 4. It's quite a quick tempo as well. Full of life and effervescent with the actual textures there as well. Great glow to them. Lots of pretty sequences there. There was like an arpeggiated sequencer that was doing 16ths there, and it was super duper kind of balls to the wall there. But it was colorful in that mid to high range there, so it sparkled. And I like the fact that we were filtering bass lines to kind of fake ourselves into like that snare focus, and we're kind of like just the use of different parts of the frequency spectrum to niche stuff and bring the song up was cool. I think the use of again is rises as well in several parts there. There was a clear structure and movement to the piece there. It was well segmented. The studio recording, mixing, and mastering for the most part was fantastic. I'm really happy with how things were leveled in the mix there. The vocals came through clearly. I didn't get all the words through, but I think there was partly because I was just kind of absorbing everything else. There was clear effort to try and make an experience, I think, that was meant to sort of excite and get you dancing and get you moving. And I don't really know how we could have improved it. It definitely, again, like the euphoria of the different synth layers, as well as, again, the bass and the kind of pounding drum line there with lots of different drum grooves with the snares building up as well. It's designed to get you moving and get you full of energy and stuff like that. And the major focus, like there was a bit of sadness in there, but the glow and the brightness of a lot of the instruments and textures within the mix kind of still seems like it's uplifting. And again, those rises make you sort of go up, and they make it seem like you're going up to the sky. So well done, Sweet Little Love. I appreciate the effort put into this track. I think it's really well handled, and it's just great to hear again that we're making more music and enjoying ourselves. And that's what matters, you know. It's solid stuff, really solid stuff. So that was from Sweet Little Love. Thank you for that. What else do we have? Do we have any other tracks to do? No, that is okay. Blue Dinner Box says, my co-workers also got COVID last week. My work progress basically halted for the whole week. Yeah, I can get behind that. I imagine that it'd be pretty severe when like businesses are affected by it, because a lot of people are very cautious about how you interact with one another, and you don't want people to get more sick, so you kind of got to get people to go home. And especially if companies have been downsizing and stuff like that, like a lot of companies have been doing so recently, you have the risk of, like, how do I describe it? You have the risk, of course, of having people just kind of like underestimating the amount of people required to do things as well, I think, which is the real shame. Because it's all very well and good when people are healthy and your business is profitable and stuff like that, you know. Everyone's fine with that stuff, but it really can be problematic again when, just make this, there we go, that's the stuff. Of course, I don't want this to be there all the time, I want this to go here. Yay! Yay! I think that's good there. Awesome. Cool. So yeah, if you guys have any other tracks you want to send through, that's totally fine. If not, hopefully the dinner box you've managed to avoid getting COVID and hopefully you're well. I've been working on this track this week as well as last week. I don't know if I've got it set up here. I do, so that's fine. Oh, I can make it small like that. That's great. I was just figuring out how this software worked. So yeah, I usually just make tracks and stuff like that if things are quiet. Of course, if they're not quiet. Oh, we got a song from Dinner Hey. That's cool. Yeah, big stretch. And you're welcome, sweet little love. It's all good. I hope that if you're still here, sweet little love, I do hope that you're gonna do some shows at some point when you feel a bit better. Because I think it can be well rewarding getting that live experience if you are not doing so already. I don't know your situation with that, but I would, I'd imagine that there'd definitely be potentially be possibilities available. Electronic music is pretty big at the moment, as I'm sure you're aware. Has been. Well, to be fair, it's been big for a long time. There's been waves of it. Like it was a lot of it in the early 2010s, and then it kind of took a step back in the mainstream to be sort of like more poppy stuff. But then you've got like a lot of the underground kind of niche teams and stuff like that. You know what I mean? I'm aware there was electronic music before the 2010s. I'm aware of that. You know. But yeah. Where was that one for dinner? Put it in the box. Where was it? Nah, fair. I respect that. I think that I think there's a lot of joy in that. There's a lot of joy in production because you don't ever feel the need to kind of make tracks for people. You can always just kind of make your own stuff and you can enjoy yourself and have fun and all that kind of stuff. I've met people and worked with people who have specifically only done stuff to be able to have a career, and it's like students who I've worked with who have wanted to learn music production and stuff. They've wanted a career, and it's really difficult to be able to promise yourself that when you haven't, well, one, you haven't made a cent from it, because music production is all about the moment you're a professional, the moment you make $1 from something, right? To an extent. But if you don't have your own vibe and aesthetic, you won't necessarily have the stamina to be able to do it for like 20 years or something like that, or even like 5 years. But if you can stick it out, then life's good. So we got our Aruarian dance from Nujabes. Thank you to dinner hang on. Thank you to Dinnerhay for this request. Aruarian dance. Hopefully I'm not scuffing that too much, that pronunciation. Oh, it's gorgeous. Gorgeous song though, eh? I think it's that guitar line, isn't it? It's absolutely gorgeous. And it's like a really fascinating guitar tone here. That kind of honkish kind of tone. It's not common, but I mean, like, I don't know how else, to be fair, you'd represent this riff. It's so distinctive, right? It kind of flutters around the headphones on the tail of it. And it just stops like that. Crazy. Beautiful song though. What does Ararian mean? Rarian. A cavernous love you feel for someone without any remote reasoning. So like there's like a someone, I don't know if you could see that. Urban Dictionary has it down as a cavernous love you feel for someone without any remote reasoning. Crazy. I'm gonna just move that back to the other side now. Not that one. Which window is it? Nobody knows. There we are. There we go. So like a cavernous love or something along those lines. That's kind of fascinating. It's a very sweet guitar line. I've had students want to learn how to play that. By the way, sup Jacob? Hopefully you're well, and sup Kai Ho. Welcome to you too. Yeah, it is perfect the weekend, absolutely. Now Dinner How to Be Fair says, this is background music, BGM, background music. Nujabe is made for the anime. It is very popular for some reason. I guess people use it for work. Yeah, well, they do. Yeah, I mean, it's a gorgeous song. So, like, it's really sweet to come into it. And the variation with the lead line there is really fascinating. And it shows that Nujabes can not only do sort of rap, sort of focused lo-fi hip-hop kind of stuff, but they can make really tremendous instrumentals as well. The string flurries and stuff like that we have rising up into parts are gorgeous. The bass line and the drums are very distinctive for Nujabe stuff, and they're very comfy. And I think that's also something I appreciate because, you know, when you listen to a musician, if they change their sound all the time, it can just be a little bit difficult to maybe kind of like catch hold to something and to kind of hold on to it. When Nujabe's, it's like a cozy blanket, man. And I think there's also something to be said for someone who can make music that doesn't feel the need to kind of like always be trying to sort of make it, or either like they're not trying to grab your attention all the time, and they're not trying to oversaturate with stuff because they're worried that there's a sense of they're secure in their abilities. They're just making it for the vibe, for the ambience there. And it is, Sweet Lily Love says it is a very calming tune. I think the combination again of those guitar lines, the sweetness of the The extensions and the harmonies combined with the softness of the playing, with the drum grooves not being too in your face, with the bass, with the strings, and all the other parts there, as well as the interesting filtering of the guitars, like with the main motif to kind of like just present it in different ways with like the honky kind of mid resonance and stuff like that. I'm not quite sure why that resonance is there, but at the very least, the intro part with the guitar is sensational, and I think that we've just been creative with the filters later on. Studio recording, mixing, and mastering is tight, not a note out of place, great balancing across the instrumental, very satisfying to listen to. So thank you to Dinahay for that request, that track from an ex named Jabez. And the album with Fat John, the album is titled Samurai Champloo Music Record Departure. This song is titled Arurian Dance, a cavernous love you feel for someone. It creates atmosphere instead of grabbing attention. Absolutely, I agree with that, Danae. Blue Dinner Box, for sure. And apparently it is also a sample from a 1969 probably bossa nova cover of a 1939 song, which uses a piece from 1899. That's crazy. Where did you find that information? Because that's cool, man. It's cool that you know that. I wouldn't have guessed that, but I think it's actually no, the style of guitar does make sense for that period. There was a lot of kind of classical sort of like sort of fingerstyle guitar from that period, you know. That tone there does kind of make sense in a sense. So that again was from Dinner. Hey, what do we have next? We have a song from Rufo. Okay, Rufo, what do we have next? Let's go. Rufo here. Thanks for your request. So this is track number 3 for today. And also, Jacob, thank you for the well wishes. It's nice when it's good seeing people being good to each other. Supernatural Blue Jeans on Spotify. Okay, Rufo, let's do it. Supernatural Blue Jeans. That's Rufo. I don't know why it does that. At least we know it's on Spotify. I think we've listened to New Jeans before, if I'm not mistaken. That's a cool album art. What do we got next? Hey, the art. It's Korean, right? Come on. Would this count as K-pop or? Oh no, there's Korean and there's also Japanese in there. That's cool. Great painting of the vocals around the side as well, you know? Gross adjustment to vocal chops there. What is that kind of what is that instrument there? I'm not quite sure what that is. It's not an organ, is it? Like, what is that? What would that be? What is that instrument? I'm not sure what that is. I like the tone of it. I recognize it in a lot of Stevie Wonder's music. Excellent. Great song though. So this is Supernatural by New Jeans. I get the feeling of face value, it's people looking at their own relationship, looking at what they've been sold and trying to sort of like get a sense of what it's all about. You know, they talk about second chances and feelings getting more intense and stuff like that. It's supernatural, so like otherworldly, I suppose. They love that they have for each other. The fact that they had another chance at that. I think it's a interesting story. Golden Moon, Diamond Stars. I'm not sure what the parts in Korean mean. I'm not entirely sure about the Japanese parts. I've done like a little bit of Japanese, but not enough to really get the hang of it. I'm really rusty with it. But either way, it's interesting. You know, it makes sense for like a kind of a K-poppy kind of single there. And I like that. I think people will be able to sort of get behind that and enjoy it. I also think the art is super cute as well. I like the art for the CP. I think it's absolutely gorgeous. All right, so like the track itself, the vocals are solid. We show a great vocal technique. There are lots of interesting vocal melodies. There are slight variations in how we approach them. There's some backing parts as well, some interesting head voice and maybe mixed voice and stuff like that. There's very sweet. There were some male vocals going, hey, and yeah, on the sides as well, which were an interesting sort of cool response there. I don't know if those people are part of the band, but either way, it was fine. I can see that there are 5 people in this shot here, so I'm not sure who did which parts, but I think they work well together, and I'm assuming they probably had their own part in the song there, and they, yeah, there were no weak points with the vocal performance. I think they sung really neatly, and they did really well with working with quite a complicated arrangement there. Mixture of different keys, sort of bass, drum, and the kind of whatever that pedal note, whatever that is. Super. What is the instrument in superstitious? Oh, it's a clavinet. It's a clavinet. It's a Hohner clavinet. So they're using a Hohner clavinet. That's what that is. Dude, I have a clavinet. Sup, Shinyida? Hopefully work is going well. Welcome to the live stream. Hopefully you have a good time. And Blue Dinner Box says they're very popular recently. Okay, so they're using a clavinet in this, according to Google. And I think that's awesome. Well done. Well done to them for using superstitious. I think actually it might be a callback to that if I'm not like superstitious and then supernatural. It might be a kind of a thing connecting together. But either ways, great song. And the again, the keys are fragrant with the extensions. The drum lines are funky with a swing groove there, highlighting the chord notes with a kind of like eighth notes or like swing eighths with some occasional sixteenths there. There was like very dramatic sort of stabs as well that we had kind of building up into different sections there. And we had dynamic range of the track. It wasn't the same loudness all the time. So some of the brighter elements there were either for transitions or in those choruses. So it was great to sort of segment those different parts like that. We had just as much of an interesting vocal line as we did with the extra instrumental back behind it there. So, wait, just as much interest in the vocal line as yeah. So I think there was a great balance there compositionally between the two. We didn't have any competing lead elements there for the vocals because they were the main focal point in this track, and that makes total sense to me. I just like how much of an identity and sort of a personality each of the individual elements within this composition had in terms of the layering. I think that we weren't sleeping on it. We understood that we could probably do very well again, as we're popular with putting out a track if we sung well and sort of gave the kind of the vibe that we needed, but kind of there was no sleeping on the production either. It was commercial grade, great glow to the overall thing, nice niching of stuff in the frequency spectrum, and the stereo field again with the movements between the vocals going side to side and stuff like that with the male vocals and such. There might have been movements with the clavinet and other instruments like that with the bam 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 rising up like that. Yeah, I need another listen to really get all the different intricacies, but ultimately very satisfying, and it's great to listen to. I don't know if I've listened to much of New Jeans before, but I appreciate what they do. And they've got another track as well called Right Now, which they've combined like 100 mil, like 90 million players on this EP, so they're doing very well for themselves. Oh, so they released that in June. So that was this month. So thank you though to Rufo. Thank you to Rufo for this this request from this that's the other one. Yeah, the Hona Clavinet, moving that back. For this request of this track from an act named what was it? Well, I can do this. From New Jeans, titled Supernatural. Had a great time with it. I appreciate it. What do we have next? After Rufo's awesome, we had 3 great songs so far. I've enjoyed it. I wonder what other songs we will have though. You can do it. You can refresh. Yay! We have a few. So there's a couple from Shinyuda as well as Jacob as well. So thank you for those, Shinyuda and Jacob. Just gonna have some water. I don't know about you, but when you like talk for like 50, 60 hours a week as a job, you gotta stay hydrated, man. You gotta stay hydrated. So remember to drink your water, okay? It's important. I still have a hard time finding K-pop songs that I like. What kind of K-pop songs would you like, Blue Dinner Box? Like, what would you... I think a good question to ask yourself could be, what would you like to find in a K-pop song? I'm also just going to do something here which could be a bit weird. There's little... I've got a squeezy thingy that blows out dust. There was like a little thing on my camera lens. So I don't know how loud or annoying that is for you guys, but hopefully that's fine. The mic's not pointed that way, so it should be good. But the next song for us is from Shinyuda, so I appreciate that. And Shinyuda, if you're watching this, I will try and make sure that you know that this is out by tomorrow. If there is if this video isn't on the channel tomorrow, it's because it got copyright blocked. But ideally it won't, because we've been better about the way that we do things recently with the live streams and making the videos smaller and stuff like that, which is good. That's what we need. Hey, it's Elephant Gym. Shadows featuring 988. That's cool. So yeah, thank you Shinyuda for this. This is Elephant Gym with a track titled Shadow featuring 9M88. Oh, those harmonies are gorgeous, dude. It is open. Welcome to the live stream. The sound design, though. I thought the song was going to end for a moment. I was like, that's kind of wild. We're only halfway. They're only halfway. I mean, the drums are absolutely ridiculous as well. What to make of this, though? Elephant Gym, 12-hour Dreams Online World Tour, July 15th at 9 p.m. to 16th at 9 a.m. EST. Crazy. So it's like a 12-hour concert, right? Yeah, no, they're a phenomenal band. So this was Elephant Gym Shadow featuring 9M88. To be honest with you, I kind of got lost in the music. I was reading the captions and everything like that. And the story is kind of mysterious. I'm not quite sure what it's about. You get the impression that it's about someone with like different selves and they're trying to sort of like figure out which one to show. And eventually the one that was in the background comes forth. And then they're figuring out what to do with this other person. So like maybe it's like revealing their true selves kind of motive there, and they've always maybe been sort of like not been sure whether they want to show that part of them, or maybe it's a part they're finally proud of. But the music, the way that it's sung, by the way, the singing from 9M88, it's just absolutely tremendous. Like they're sensational. The mixture of different melodies there, the way we approach those legato passages, the dynamic range on the microphone, just with the vocal control, as well as the vibrato of the quieter parts, illustrates someone who's incredibly competent on the mic. Great singer. It's very suspenseful vocal performance that matches a lot of what's going on with those guitar, bass, and drums, and all the other effects. Like there's some brass parts. There was some glitchy sort of like electronic sort of synthy soundscapey kind of like Polish kind of breaking stuff on the sides there. It's testament as all of you have been saying. Alvin K, sup by the way, Alvin Jim, fun math music, Jacob with unbelievably tight for a live performance, Sweet Little Love, incredibly talented. Yeah, absolutely, all three. I completely agree. They're one of the tightest live bands I've seen in these reviews. The drummer's ridiculous. The bass player is absolutely just wild, and the guitarist is almost the most kind of like it's like you kind of expect the guitar to be keeping up with the intensity of the bass drum performances, so it's not that it's less impressive, but it's more balanced. The guitar with a lot of the arpeggios, the kind of Streisand kind of like delays and reverbs and stuff, the floaty extensions, the kind of ghostly elements there, the picking and the progressions that are played there are they are basically highlighted by a lot of the bass parts as well. The bassist does not just stick in the low end with the root notes; they move upwards and they do a lot of really incredible stuff in their mid range as well. They explore the fretboard. And they don't just play with sort of like clean bass tones. They also work towards like an incredibly kind of like gritty, kind of like distorted, kind of like heavy bass tone near the end, which I think kind of infers that the self that's behind the scene is not necessarily one we wanted to put forward there. And there's a bit of danger now. That bass with the increase in distortion there lets you know that something kind of bad or unhelpful or kind of less than ideal is about to occur. And so I think that just that use of textures. But also, again, the stuff going around the sides of the stereo field during the performance there, like on the far side, left or right there, it seems like more than just a live performance because we're trying to sort of create this world where there's even more unexpected stuff happening. You've got instrumentalists in front of you, as well as 9M88 on the vocals, but then you've also got, you just got those extra sort of like textures there, and they kind of like surprise and maybe even frighten you a little bit, depending on how like ready you are for them. Well, not frightened, that's a strong word, but more just like it's enthralling. It's exciting, it's captivating. And then just shout out to the drummer. Like, to be that tight on an acoustic kit, to be able to get all those interesting 16th, 32nd, 16th triplet parts done when we're not just in 4/4, we are switching around time signatures as well. We are doing grooves within grooves. We're playing a bit of polymeter occasionally, some polyrhythms occasionally. It's tremendous, dude. They're wonderful musicians, and I think that every drummer should strive to be as tight as them in a live environment. It's just awesome. There's such incredible sort of like flexibility of what they can accomplish as well, because they're all so good that they can just move around each other effortlessly and create this utterly enrapturing universe for all their songs. Elephant Gym are absolutely insane. They're wonderful. They're a really great band. There's a lot of really cool bands coming out from that part of the world. I think that the theme itself is kind of mystical and kind of like confusing and a little bit kind of like unsettling, and that's fine with me because I think that that's kind of what the story is trying to represent, anyways. But yeah, with the use of those kind of like maybe some not diminished chords, yeah, maybe diminished. And a lot of the intensity is sort of like, or the danger is kind of inferred until like the distortion near the end with the story and all that. It's you feel like you're in danger without knowing necessarily why at first, and then just the studio record. The production's commercial grade. So thank you to Shin Yuda for putting through this track from an act named Elephant Gym titled Shadow featuring 9988. I consistently have a good time with them, and it seems like other people did as well. Phenomenally tight stuff, man. What did I just do? I think I deleted something without meaning to. That's a problem. Just gonna quickly just go here. Did I? Good. That's still going, right? Yeah. Okay, that's good. That'll be fine. That's okay. There's no issues there. It's showing on both, right? So what else do we have? That was from Shin Yuda. I think the next one is from Jacob, though, if I'm not mistaken. Oh, it's from Andreas, and there's Rufo. Hello, Andreas. Welcome to the live stream. Hopefully you're well. We've got a few more before yours, but it's good to check out your music, what you've put through for today. In the meantime, Jacob. There we go. Hopefully you're all having a fantastic weekend or start to the weekend. Hopefully, I know for some of you guys, it's probably like autumn at the moment, going into winter, right? We're just no, it's summer going into autumn, right? Here in New Zealand, we're about to enter spring, and we've got like a cherry blossom tree outside our house, and it's absolutely gorgeous, and it's very exciting. It's like you want to celebrate getting through the winter, right? It's something to appreciate. I know there's parts of the world where they have parties when they get through winter. Not to be too sort of like depressing about it, but this track is from Jacob, and Jacob Good, and this is titled Joanna Dong and Harlem U, titled Honest Love Song. There's no captions, that's okay. Oh, her voice is amazing, yeah. Such phenomenal chemistry on stage though, right? Band aesthetic.
那首古老的舞曲，让我们又在一起，感觉好甜蜜，
仿佛时间都暂停，停在你说爱我的夜里，
好想爱上你。I'm in love， 虽然有一点不确定，好想爱上你。I'm in love， 老实的情歌永远都会流行，
会流行。好想爱上你
I'm in love， 虽然有一点不确定，好想爱上你。I'm in love， 老实的情歌永远都会流行。
靠近你就在今晚，
Beautiful.
感受彼此心中温暖，能不能靠近我就在今晚，不要再让彼此遗憾。
在今晚，
在今晚，在今晚，I'm in love，
老实的情歌永远都会流行。
谢谢大家。
That was incredible. That was amazing. So that was what was that? That was Joanna Dong and Harlem U, titled Honest Love Song, and that was an incredible live performance there from both vocalists. Harlem U had a great control of their vocal performance there, and the vocal runs are amazing. They're a sensational singer. They've got great charisma on stage. That kind of the vocal fry there that I can't do well, but he can. It was dope. It suited that old school kind of jazzy vibe there, the big band aesthetic there. It's reminded me of some of the greats from that early 20th century. And of course, Joanna Dong, absolute, national treasure there. Like, just absolutely stunning. The texture and timbre of her voice is so sweet and suits whatever they seem to sing across, and it's unique, and it's the expression and the charisma and the stage presence and the chemistry between the two of them on stage as well that is so just so well done. And I feel like her success in this composition, from what I understand, is well deserved. The piece starts with the two of them, I think, kind of like maybe admitting their feelings for each other. And then the curtain drops and the tempo shifts, and then you got the entire band with like drums and brass and backing vocalists and the whole doo-wop thing, and it's just incredible. I loved the jazzy intonations there. It's so much fun to listen to the perkiness of those brass parts there, the way they harmonize together, the shuffle of the drums there, the slow waltz there, the dance vibe, dun 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 dun. The sort of the right cymbal and sort of snare patterns there. But go back a little bit. And like the double bass as well, the low end there is wonderful. It highlights the low notes really well. It has a great sense of rhythmic unison with the drums. And there's even like a little guitar solo in there as well to appreciate. This is why I go back and check stuff just in case I miss things. It's like a subtle, like alternate lead there, but the vocals still retain so much focus throughout. And you just really get the impression that they really cared about this. They both wanted to be there and sing with each other, and they wanted to sell the aesthetic there. And to be fair, it's also just that the runs there, the different belts there, the way we even had everything come down, and Joanna kept tune without any other instruments around them. They just have relative pitch, and then they just come and build, and then there's just such a clean entrance into that higher range there. and Harlem knows to kind of step back a little bit when it's not their time, and they know when to make space for each other, and it's just awesome. And again, the production's commercial grade. It would have been a pleasure to have been able to be there and actually watch this. And even though I don't understand the language, I don't need to necessarily understand the words to understand what the track is about. Even not necessarily, like, even if the title wasn't there, the way they were acting, the way they were looking at each other, you kind of get the feeling of what it's about without necessarily needing to be spoon-fed it. So thank you to Jacob for showing me another tremendous track from Joanna Dong, as well as featuring Harlem U. Just going to read through our chat now. Apparently, Harlem was a guest partner for a competition for Sing China, and she killed it. Harlem himself is kind of a legend, long stay from Taiwan, and for her to hold that stage presence in a competition is quite cool. Oh yeah. And again, they knew to come down for each other. They had great balance and respect for each other. They were very. That's what you have to do in duets. You have to take your turn, and then you kind of meet each other in the middle, and then you kind of become. That's when the wholes become bigger than the individuals, if that makes sense. The sum of the individuals, and that's just it's fundamentals. But when they pull it off, they really pull it off. Really cool, man. I do enjoy. I prefer some of these shows a bit more than like the Western versions of them. I could hear parts in there where they were the notes were like just slightly. How do I say this without potentially offending someone? They were like you could hear like a buzz or like kind of vibrations where the notes were kind of like rubbing up against each other. And if you'd auto-tuned that to shit, it would have been bad. And they didn't do that here. It wasn't badly sung. They were flirting with like that harmony there, and then just they just kind of go to build tension, and they just go past it. If you'd auto-tuned it, it would have been flat. And they can both just sing really well. They don't need the auto-tune. They're fantastic. And a lot of the Western stuff, you do get auto-tune in competitions, and it's pretty egregious at times, which is a shame. I think that, a lot of the best performances in the 20th century arguably were not from like quote unquote perfect vocal performances. And if they were perfect performances, it was ultimately because they had to sing without auto-tune to an extent where they could just sing. I understand auto-tune can be good. Disclaimer, I can understand auto-tune can be good in certain situations if it's stylistic. And I understand if there's like one note, in an entire take that needs to be fixed, you could potentially do that with that one bit as opposed to all of it. But then wouldn't it be just good to be able to just do the take? But anyways, great stuff. So we've got another track from Rufo next. Thank you to Rufo. We're going to find this on here. Hey, I know this track. Now, hang on. Guys and girls, or anyone else, guys, girls, they, them. We have ourselves a track from Daft Punk, and it could be tricky because Daft Punk, I've had music blocked from Daft Punk before. It's through Spotify, so it should be fine. But if I was to show a video on YouTube, it might get blocked. I don't know why Daft Punk is so anal about it that they are. They're just old school. So we'll just see how it goes. I'm not saying it will get blocked, but it might. But thank you, Rufo, anyways. Oh, that tone though. I like the funkiness of that lead there.
Might not be the right time. I might not be the right one. But there's something about us I want to say. 'Cause there's something between us this anyway. I might not be the right one.
Great choice there.
It might not be the right time, but there's something about us I've got to do. Some kind of secret I will share with you. I need you more than anything in my life. I want you more than anything in my life. I'll miss you more than anyone in my life. I love you more than anyone in my life.
Damn, that's really, that hits different, doesn't it? And how it kind of tickles your ear a little bit with that part. And the fade out, they're very classy. So that was Something About Us by Daft Punk. I think that it was a really intriguing track there, partially because of the fact that there was a sense of emptiness to it at the start. Like, if we go back to the start really quickly, like, the keys are there. I'm not really sure what the... I don't know if I necessarily like the sound of that on my ear. It's specifically because they've panned it in the stereo field in a way where it's just right in the cans on that left side. And it kind of sounds like it's tickling your eardrums a bit like that. I'm not necessarily sure if I enjoy that. But there's like a sense of emptiness with the theme there. Like, even though there are the pads in it, like the pads or the keys in the mid-range there, even though there's a drum line and a bass groove and stuff like that, it really does kind of get filled up when that lead key soloish thing comes in after that vocal section. I think to sort of go further with my comments on the autotune stuff, that's an example where autotune can be used well. It's like a stylistic thing. It's like sort of a synthetic thing. It's an electronic sort of idea. And it makes it almost sound sort of more robotic there. And I kind of appreciate the way it sort of niches into a lot of the more kind of like digital elements within the mix. I think that the story that they're trying to tell here within the lyrics is a tale as old as time. And I think that there's something kind of beautiful about not feeling the need to sort of overdo it and play the same part again and again or turn into a chorus, verse thing. What I appreciate is that we're simply telling a story and we're telling a tale and then we're leaving. We're allowing ourselves simply to have that moment of like, oh, this is you know, this is what I want to say to you, and these are my feelings towards you, and I love you like this. I love you more than anyone in my life. That I love you at the end. That secret that I want to share. We might not work out, but I feel the need to tell you this. It's important. I think a lot of people will be able to relate to this, and like there's an inherent kind of low-key sadness to this track, almost like we're aware that this might sort of be a futile environment. It might have been a track where we kind of were telling the person who was maybe with someone else or that we would never maybe get together with, that things weren't going to work out, but we still wanted to let them know how we felt. But there's just so many ways you can interpret it. I think the relative minimalism with like the range, like we have it, it's simply phrased. It's sort of more sort of spoken, sung to us. And I like the fact it's more of a frank kind of like message there. There's a bit of vulnerability with the vocal layers. Like there's different vocal takes in there, like a high and a low part there. The octave of it is, but it's also kind of like a dusty kind of sound to it, almost like these memories were locked away for a while. I think it's a sort of great sort of groove with the drums and bass there. That kind of like it sounds a lot like later albums as well that I'm sort of more familiar with. But I think as a starting point there, especially with the minimalism of like the core, it just showcases how effective it can be to have core instruments do specific functions, make them work, make them sound cool. Position stuff, even if I didn't necessarily vibe with like the stuff that was sort of panned hard left and right within the mix. I appreciate the creativity there and how it does surround you in the headphones. And I suppose it's up to you to figure out what that means in a sense, which just makes you more intrigued in the music and makes you question things. The the quality of the production is incredibly high there. It seems like it's more than just a song. It's trying to create an experience, and I appreciate that. When you look at the album titled Discovery, it does seems like we're discovering stuff, and I appreciate the authenticity there and the attention to detail. I understand why Daft Punk is successful after listening through songs like this, and it's great. And thank you to Rufo for suggesting this request. I had a great time with it. It's a fantastic song. So they made One More Time. I didn't realize that Daft Punk made One More Time. I did not know that. Is that it? I never realized they made that. I wasn't aware of that, but now that makes sense. I've always wondered who made that song, but never gotten around to saying it. Jacob says, I still stand by my opinion that Discovery is one of the very best electronic... cheers, by the way, Rufo. I'm just going to switch. Because who have we got after this? We've got Shin Yi Da with a track. After Rufo's. Jacob says, I still stand by my opinion that Discovery is one of the very best electronic music albums ever made. That's fair, man. I can understand why you'd feel that way. It's definitely worth having a maybe listen through and like kind of like sitting with actually, I don't know, because I didn't necessarily enjoy One More Time as a track. I've wondered about it, but I didn't necessarily like it. I suppose I started getting into electronic music a bit harder when I got into the harder stuff a bit later on. So like Daft Punk for me, I like their low-key kind of funky stuff because it's just a little bit... Yeah, I don't know how to describe it. No, we don't want that. Sorry guys, I'm just having a moment. There we go. No, there we are. Cool. But I think that there was a lot of really cool stuff happening in 2001 that helped elevate the genre that they were in, and I appreciate their work toward that. Okay, so this is a track from Shin Yi Da, though. They've sent in a request for Elephant Gym titled Finger, so that's cool. It's a live performance. Let's go. I know this one. They just tied as live, aren't they? What I want to say really quickly is I've been listening to this. If you're listening through headphones and you're hearing that it's only on one side of the stereo field, I think it's simply because the phone they've used to record this has got the mic pointed towards... I don't know how they would record it. Is the mic picking up like the left side far more than the right? Have they got the mic pointed forward, but like it's picking up more of the left speaker? How have they done this? How have they recorded this? I think it sounds a pretty good recording regardless. Don't get me wrong, but that's just been on my mind for a little bit. Great 16th note picking on the guitar though. Oh, so tight, man. Ooh, that's ferocious, man. And it's how they interact with each other and keep track of where each other's at. The chemistry on stage is fantastic. Interesting use of chorus on the bass there. The crowd's loving it, man. I think they're in Parish, Austin, Texas as well. Ah, fantastic effort there. Oh, he's bowing. Excellent work on the bell at the end there. Fantastic video. Thank you to we've got Elephant Jim for the track title Finger. I've watched this before. I've listened to this track before. I've seen them play a video for it. There was like a dedicated like a studio live recording that they did. And in hearing them play it live, it's not that much of a different experience. I mean, granted, again, I think this was recorded on a cell phone, so like the audio is a little bit different. Like it's not balanced in the headphones, but that's fine. I'm glad to have still gotten the opportunity to have a perspective of watching the band live. I think that they're tremendously talented across the board. This being an instrumental for the most part, about the kind of like the melody that the vocalist does in that late section. You have a piece there which I'm not necessarily sure what it's trying to sort of communicate, but nonetheless, it is very effective at this kind of mystical aura and ambience that it has with the mixture of really captivating and intricate guitar melodies and harmonies. I think it's wonderful how we're approaching things with the different guitar arpeggios and how we're not just playing chords and we're even not just picking there. We're sort of allowing room for the basses to go up and down the fretboard and do whatever the heck they want, especially with we're getting the bass in the moment. We've spoken about that before, but we will in a moment. But just the fact that it's so light and breezy, and we don't try and take up too much of the stereo field with it. We don't try and go too much into the lows because we know the bass is going to take up most of that space anyways. And the bass player does. Phenomenal bass player. I've said this before, but they absolutely said like this. That tapping stuff they do with the slides is very difficult. It's an advanced technique, and what they do, which is so effective, is they They just go up and down. It's this rotating, sort of oscillating loop that's very satisfying to listen to. And there are adjustments to that. We have like different passages like chorus tapping as well. But we also know to kind of go down and sort of do more like finger style stuff, working with our fingers like that. And we roll on those root notes and we push forward, and there's a great pulse and sort of sense of gravity and heaviness to it. Especially when we get to that middle layer there where we kind of all kind of come up, and but we see the bass player directly interacting with the drummer. And they're just, everyone's in sync, and they all come together. And there's a louder part where we sort of crescendo or go to fortissimo, and there's like, it was almost like it slows down because of how heavy it is. Just the power of the instruments involved there, the fuzziness of the guitar parts and bass parts, the distortion part is just ferocious. There's like an idea that we each have our own solo parts, because we're practically playing solo parts, even though we're doing incredibly well at sort of having a sense of cohesion as a group there. I mean, like the drummer is phenomenal, as I mentioned before. The tightness of those hi-hat grooves moving around with the ride cymbals there, and just again the softness of a lot of those sort of like ghost note hits, but how like consistent they are across the kit, whether it's the tom fills or again those kind of kick snare sort of high. It's phenomenal. We slow stuff down. It was just this gentle sort of pace. It was almost like being under hypnosis. You start to finish and you boom, and you're there. And I got so much love for musicians who go to a place and they just play well, and they can do it just as well live as in the studio, and you come out of it just feeling like you've gained something. You had a mutually beneficial experience, and you got to watch people really shred, but in a way which was satisfying and fulfilling. And as closing comment, I thought the live mix was pretty good as well. Again, as a good effort, but it's cool to hear that they or see that they have fans in Austin, Texas. That's awesome. So we way think from where they're from, but that's fantastic. Unless, of course, I was hang on a minute. Yeah, they're from Taiwan. Yeah, I was thinking they were from Taiwan. Yeah, I was about to say, oh, I'm gonna get myself in trouble here. No, I thought they were from Taiwan. That's cool though. Thank you to Shinyuda for that request. That was awesome. Really had fun with that. I hate when I misclick stuff. I really hate when I misclick stuff. But that's there. So that was from Shinyuda, I think, if I'm not mistaken. How many other ones do we have? We're getting through the requests today, I think. So we've got another 4 requests to go today. So that's cool. It's been a busy day today. The next one is from Andreas. So for Andreas, if you're still here, hi, hopefully you're doing well. Hopefully you're having a great day. And we're going to be checking out track titles. What have we got? This is titled what? It's titled There Will Be Fireworks from Youngblood. So that's awesome. We'll add that to the list as well. Boom. And nailed it. Slam, bam, pop. We've listened to these guys before, haven't we? Yeah, we listened to River. But this is from Andreas, a request from Andreas, a track from There Will Be Fireworks, titled Youngblood.
You've been twisting, turning in your sleep. Your nerves all cut to red, and you can barely eat. You're far from home. You're far from home. Hearing voices on the underground. They built you up and boy, they will cut you down and break your bones. Break your bones.
mean, it's just such a heavy story already, isn't it?
We've been turning, turning to mold. Young blood on the floor and the television glow. Wasting time. Wasting time. You've been drinking quietly tonight, trying to take the edge off the dark, dark bright. Like every time, like every time.
It's such a pretty sounding song, though. The lyrics are so dark. Great panning back and forth there as well. Cool. Well done. Here comes the atmosphere, my dudes. It was just fantastic to build up like that. I mean, like, it's an incredibly sad song. This is There Will Be Fireworks this is the band is titled There Will Be Fireworks. This song's off of the Dark Dark Bright album. Song is titled Youngblood. You get the feeling that this is about you're talking to someone who got built up and they had all the opportunity and hope in the world. And they built you up, and then inevitably what happened is they brought you back down again. And it's just kind of you just get that feeling of being used and having to sort of like cope with the consequences of that, you know, having to cope with what people have put you through and what's like finding your sense of purpose in life and growing old and kind of like drinking to cut and like having vices to cope and stuff. And there's a lot of really heavy stuff going on, but I think that part of what makes this sort of like palatable initially is that there is like an earnestness with the vocal performance there. They clearly care about what they're talking about there. It's kind of gorgeous how kind they are with the way they approach you with the different sort of like lines. And there's never a sense that they want you to like feel too down about it. It almost becomes sort of melancholic, which like, no, this is just what it is. Right? There's an inherent sweetness with the guitar layers, and especially at the start, how bright it is. You know, like almost like you're bright and things are like cheery and like happy and uplifting and stuff like that, even though, you know, the stuff's weighing you down or kind of destroying you and your bones are getting whittled down. It's a piece where, how do I say it? it just, you get the feeling that they're trying to find equilibrium there between the instruments and vocal performances there. And like it never, it's just the way that the bass and drums move forward there in the early stages. If I go back a little bit and just like double check, it's like a mandolin or something like that, actually. That's a mandolin, isn't it? There's like a mandolin here with like the basses and drums and stuff like that. So it never gets to it. The mandolin itself is a bright instrument, which is part of why it probably sounds like that. But then you get like these like incredibly frenetically picked guitar parts later on, almost like as if we had like a break there and there were like a moment of kind of realization of what we were and that we need to make the most of the life around us. And then like the guitars burst into life and there's a similar reprise of a lot of the elements initially. You just get a fuller sound when you've had that realization from the story later on. So I think that the vocals are fantastic there. We have great technique there. We aren't over embellishing it. It's just enough to be sort of like appreciate the fundamentals there and kind of carry us in a way that's very kind of satisfying. The whoa, do, 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 those back and forths we have there in that midsection there just after the main verse were cool as well, how they went between the sides of the stereo field. And then that quiet part there, if I just kind of reference that. And then we have the guitars introduced here. It's angelic as well. It's almost like, yeah, we're asking ourselves questions, and then the end part is where it kind of crescendos and gets big and boring, kind of, yeah, we have that release. The drum parts with the interesting mixture of dun 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 dun. Like it'd be 16th parts, right? It'd be a 16th note groove there. So it's kind of busy and hectic and almost like we're kind of being pushed to go faster than we feel comfortable with doing until things come to a close and we figure stuff out. The bass line bringing that pulse forward and being very sort of like substantive in that front as well. But yeah, it's again like the pace of the guitars, even though it's a realization, infers that we're still rocketing forward at a speed of light. And that we can't necessarily stop it. We're just trying to find a sense of direction the best way we can. The theme itself, again, is it's not trying to commit too much to the sadness there. It's maybe inferring that even if things kind of suck at the moment, they will improve. And the studio recording, mixing, and mastering is, yeah, it's commercial grade. I love the dynamic range in that midsection coming down and then like bring it back up again. It's well thought out and a great use of 4 minutes 37, really well structured with several different distinct sections that are very satisfying. Even if you kind of relate to a little bit, you can relate to it. It's heavy, but thank you to Andreas for putting this track through. It's from an act again named There'll Be Fireworks, titled Youngblood, and yeah, damn, I can relate to that. That's a powerful song, man. That's a powerful song. But what do we have next? We have song from Dinnerhay. This one is titled Thanks for Your Request. Here we go. Dinnerhay. This is Girl So Confusing featuring Lord, Charlie XCX. Oh, crazy. So we're getting a bit of... This will be interesting. I haven't really listened to much of Charlie XCX, so it'd be good to hear more of their stuff.
It's so confusing sometimes to be a girl. It's so confusing sometimes to be a girl.
The vocal modulation is wild on there.
How do you feel being a girl? And I don't know, I'm just a girl. Yeah, I don't know if you like me. Sometimes I think you might hate me. Sometimes I think I might hate you. Maybe you just wanna be me. You always say let's go out, so we go eat at a restaurant. Sometimes it feels a bit awkward cause we don't have much in common. People say we're alike, they say we've got the same hair. We talk about making music, but I don't know if it's honest. Can't tell if you wanna see me falling over and failing, and you can't tell what you're feeling. I think I know how you feel.
And how it pans to the side, very effective.
How do you feel?
That's when I woke up to your voice. Now you told me how you've been feeling. Let's work it out on the remix. You always say let's go out, but then I'd cancel last minute. I was so lost in my head and scared to be in your pictures. 'Cause for the last couple years, I've been at war in my body. I tried to starve myself thinner, and then I gained all the way back. I was trapped in the hatred, and your life seemed so awesome. I never thought for a second my voice was in your head. Girl, you walk like a bitch. When I was 10, someone said that, and it's just self-defense until you're building a weapon. She believed my protection, and now I totally get it. Forgot that inside that icon, there's still a young girl from Essex. People say we're alike, they say we've got the same hair. It's you and me on the coin, the industry loves to spend. And when we put this to bed, the internet will go crazy. I'm glad I know how you feel, 'cause I ride for you, child. Girl, child. It's so confusing sometimes to be a girl. Girl, girl, girl. It's so confusing sometimes to be a girl. Girl, girl, girl. How do you feel being a girl? How do you feel being a girl? Girl, and I don't know, I'm just a girl. Girl, girl, you know I write for you too.
You know what? Actually, I think that's probably one of the first Lord songs I like. I know that Lord is like a New Zealander, and I feel like patriotically I need to like her music, but like, nah, I don't really dig it. But I like this one. I liked it a lot. I think that's fantastic. I'm just gonna quickly check that the mic is still in the center. Oh, it's down a little bit. What happened? What are you doing, microphone? You drunk? Drunk microphone. I know I need to change the battery as well. There we go. Cool. Hopefully that is coming through okay now. I don't know. Here we go. We'll change the camera battery over real quick, and then we'll talk about this one. So, what do I think this one's about? I mean, it's pretty easy to tell what this one's about, to be fair, you know. I feel like you'd have to be struggling to not understand it. Although, of course, I could potentially also just potentially get it wrong, but either way, yeah, that's okay. Yeah, cool. All right, so I've got Girl. No, that one. Girl from Charlie XX and Lord. Part of the reason why I appreciate being able to listen to this is I'm very unfamiliar with Charlie XCX's work. I'm not as familiar with Lord stuff, although I've heard a bit of it on New Zealand radio, because when she got big, she got really big. To be honest, I really don't know which part is sang by Lord at first. I'm pretty sure it's the second part, right? The second part was sung by Lord. The first part, I think, was sung by Charlie XX primarily because of the accent. The New Zealand accent is distinct. They've still got that. I could be wrong though. But yeah, I think that the story is about two girls who potentially look similar, or maybe that the industry thinks they look similar, and they're supposed to like the same stuff, and they get confused maybe, and they're sick of it, and so, I mean, Lord, who's more established than Charlie XX, I think, if I understand correctly, they've been around for a while, and so maybe they just didn't necessarily think they'd get along at first, and they thought there was an issue. But then what's happened is that they're making music together, and they're having a great time, and it's just what I like about it is it's like they're kind of parodying. I can't tell if they're like legitimately. I can't tell how to interpret it. I don't know whether they're kind of parodying the girls don't know what's going on kind of stuff. Like they're kind of airheaded kind of aesthetic there, which I mean I don't personally believe in, but like like sometimes you get like airheaded people in general, right? Girls are so confusing. Like you get the people like making sort of like comments about how girls are confusing and stuff and everything like that. If they're kind of working with that, or if they legitimately are finding it confusing, I don't think that's the case. I think that they just didn't know each other that well at first. But it's kind of meta at the same time, right? Effectively, they inevitably didn't know each other. Laura had opened up about the stuff that she was going through as well, with like her eating stuff, which is kind of wild. You know, it's very raw music, and they seem like they just wanted to kind of get to know each other and connect with each other better. And I think there is like a frank openness there and a want to connect, which I think is healthy. Um, it is. Um, it is. Okay, so if you want to submit a track, you can just put it in the queue. You can just put a track in the queue. If the queue's open, you can put a track in. If the queue is not open, we cannot put a track in. It's probably advisable to put a queue order in the queue earlier to make sure we get a song in the queue. Because I could close at any moment. I'm not trying to mess with anyone. It's just the case if it is. But if you want to put a track in, feel free to request it. And if you want to just hang out and listen to music, that's fine too. It's okay. It's literally, it's just, yeah, I have a specific schedule during weekdays, especially, that I need to keep. Because if I don't keep that schedule during weekdays, what happens is I have work like half an hour after I finish my live streams on weekdays. The way that I operate is very methodical and it's very regimented, and that does mean that if it's like the end of the stream, it is. And so I have to kind of like calculate how many tracks there are going to be before the end of the stream, so that I can then close it at that point. Which is probably why sometimes it's like, this is silly. Why is he closing it like half an hour beforehand? It's simply because I know I'm going to have enough requests, only enough time to get those requests done. You know, it's a job. Doing music for me. Yeah, as I'm sure you guys are aware, you know. But yeah. I probably won't go all night. But if the queue is open, the queue is open. But anyways, sorry, getting back into this. So, okay, TLDR, Lloyd and Charlie XCX are making up. This is a big song. They get along with the other two, making great music. I think this track came out a couple of months ago. I think also recently, Charlie XCX and Billie Eilish made a song together as well. So they're clearly having a fantastic time together. And it's just great that Charlie XX is collaborating with other musicians, trying to sort of like get their name out there. I'm not sure how big they are, by the way. I'm not sure, but they're doing well for themselves. And the track itself is kind of playful. There's synths and driving, pulsating, writhing bass line. It's very early 2010s there. There's a huge amount of sort of power and kind of like fizz, like just heft that bass line there. And the chord note drum grooves push us along there, as well as interesting sort of like snare patterns as well. It's awesome. And use of rises as well. What I like as well, there's also, so it kind of reminds me of kind of early like 2010s like pop music with the dance stuff, but it's also how we split to the sides. We split to the sides of the stereo field in the chorus sections with the girl. We kind of like modulate the vocal melodies and make them sort of like glitchy in effect. I think there was like 30 seconds of the start of the track was doing variations of that. And it's just such an unusual tone and texture that you just appreciate, and it kind of wonder where it's going to go next. So that's the power of kind of getting that that hook line stuck in your head, and without giving everything away immediately. So okay, TLDR, great story. I appreciate the way it was structured. The instruments for the mix were great. It was uplifting and energetic and reasonably positive overall without being cheesy. I like the honesty of the candor of the people within the track there. They communicated well. Production quality is commercial grade. Fantastic song. Well done to Charlie XX and Lord. They figured stuff out. It felt like a real story that we went on, a real journey. So cool. What do we have next? Okay. We have a track from... So that was Dinner Hay's done. Thank you to Dinner Hay for that. We got one more from Shin Yida. The queue is down to 2. Thanks for your request. And what do we have from Shin Yida today? We have this. What is this? Poison. Okay, who is Poison from? Who is Poison from? What has Shinyuda brought for us with this one? It's a little bit crushed, but I can appreciate what we're trying to do here. Is this it here? Is this it here? I just want to like maybe see if we can get like a... Here we go. I think this might be a slightly more high-res version. Or not. Takashi Sorimachi with Poison. I just want to check whether the loudness of the track is the same with the previous one. Yeah, so that's one was about 119, right? I was a bit louder. Okay, cool. The story is so intense. That's okay, Shinyuda. I appreciate it nonetheless. I like the variation instrumentally though. There are distinct sections. They work. Fantastic. Interesting combination of different keys, guitar, bass, and drums within this track, Poison, from an act named Takashi Sorimachi. Thank you to Shinyuda for recommending this. This is the theme song of the Japanese drama GTO. It was more than 20 years ago, so the picture quality is a bit poor in 1998, 26 years ago. Yeah, no, it's totally fine. It's more like, I think what this person has done is they've re-uploaded the previous version I was looking at that was done 15 years ago, and they've kind of made this their own. Sup shredders, as it's close to when, thanks for quests so far. I'm going to be closing the queue now. Look, I will review the remaining songs from just checking who's put stuff through. Alvin, Rufo, and just gonna be closing the queue now, guys. There we go. That's cool. Bands of the past still have that charm. Absolutely, Alvin. Absolutely, I agree with that. And Shinyuda says the singer played the male lead in the Japanese drama and took the heroine home as his wife. That's cool. So I get the feeling this song Poison is about someone who is struggling with the conditions that they're being put in by the world around them, and they can't speak their truth and they can't be honest about their feelings about stuff, and they really just want to release. They want to be able to be themselves, and they're struggling with the fact that they can't allow that to happen, or that can't happen. They want to allow themselves to be manipulated. They're going to be true to themselves. And you get this feeling with the sadness within the track, within the key signature, and with the motif itself, that is kind of what they're going for here. I hear this and I go, okay, I understand the bluesy elements from the guitar playing because it suits the kind of aesthetic of what's been described from the lyricist. And I appreciate the riffs on the guitar there. They've got a sense of pace to them and they're kind of cool sounding, but also they never try to take too much focus away from the singer. They only complement and sort of like build the mood and the motif there. There are also some light keys in there. There are some kind of fuzzy 80s keys in there, which kind of make me feel nostalgic for that period there. That are just a nice sort of reinforcement in the side ends for the main sort of vocal melodies. I think there's also vocal harmonies. The singer did a tremendous job of sort of expressing themselves within this. Solid vocal technique, made a lot of sense for the genre there, very expressive, and was great to listen to. I think that if anything, what they did really well was highlight, like they told an honest story, and they really sort of like found sort of core melodies and hook lines that made sense within the key signature and such. And they found a sense of pace with the drum kit and all the other elements, and allowed room for the lead guitars as well. They needed to in that solo section there, which was also pretty well phrased there. The legato work in there, a great sort of alt lead to what's going on with the pipes. The bass and drums were tight in the low end there. No issues there with the way they kind of behaved with the guitar and everything else in the mix there. It was a really solid song there that just covered the fundamentals really neatly and established an aesthetic where they showed a sense of resilience, or they weren't going to give in to the demands of the world around them. They were coping with the expectations. There was like a brightness to the and sheen to the chorus, which illustrated that we weren't going to be giving up and we weren't going to allow ourselves to be taken by. It's a cool song. It's an interesting story there. I think you get more context potentially from the drama, or maybe from like the drama. Maybe it's related to the story in that, or like along those lines. But yeah, it's cool. Thank you, Shinyuda, putting this track forward. I had a great time with it, and yeah, it's cool. So we've got another track after Shinyuda's from Rufo. Yeah, Alvin, I hear that. They do remind me a bit of T-Rex. I'm not as familiar with T-Rex's stuff as I'd need to be to make a direct comparison, but I have heard some stuff from them, and I can get that vibe from it. But thank you, Rufo. Got Sorry by Khalil Fong on Spotify. I'm going to pin that message as well so people are aware of it in case people are unsure. Khalil Fong was Sorry. Wide range of tracks today. Let's do some Khalil Fong, man. Let's do it. The dynamic range, though, man. Crazy. Need to do stretches after this. I've been sitting all day.
当我回头，发现是我伤你最多，欠你最多，曾经拥有一种幸福。当你流泪，还问你到底想要什么 ？I'm so sorry。
Oh,
现
right.
在值得你伤心，有同样的心情。I'm so sorry。我现在终于能明白，当我为爱付出，一样得到伤害，我才看得见你的爱是那么深，最深的爱，原来最沉默。爱的温柔，爱的
Ooh.
残酷，爱的自私，爱的自由，爱的背叛，爱的挣扎，这些我都走过。你的错，我现在也都有。I'm so sorry。我现在值得你伤心，有同样的心情。I'm so sorry。我现在终于能明白。
I like how the brass dances around the stereo field, man.
一样的当伤害，我才看得见你的爱是那么深，最深的爱，原来最沉默。再过了好久好久，当我们又再相遇，当爱也许已经不存在，我是否可以再和你坐一起，一切都不在意，想要告诉你对你的伤害，没有说对不起，没有说对不起。I'm so sorry。 我现在知道你伤心，有同样的心情。I'm so sorry。 我现在终于能明白。
He's just so effortlessly explorative,
我为
man.
爱付出，也得到爱的伤害，我也才明白，你的爱是那么深，伤你多深。哦，想要对你说。
Oh, and the shimmer on the rides at the end. Fantastic. So that was from an actor named Khalil Fong titled Sorry. And yeah, what do I think the track is about? I assume it's about being sorry, tentatively. I would assume that would be the case. Just put the art up here for Wonderland from Khalil Fong. The vocal performance was stunning. Again, great sort of dynamic range, vocal control there. You know, common comments from Khalil Fong. They're a sensational singer. Solid vocal technique there. Lots of interesting R&B-ish type of expressions there and lines there. We have some really solid harmonies in there as well there that we approach. As a main focal point or a lead line within the entirety track, it makes a lot of sense there. Eloquent in the delivery. Purposeful. No complaints about it at all. I think that we sold the story we needed to there. We have interesting like builds and volume with some of the brass parts there. We have an awareness of how the other instruments within the arrangement are working with us, which is kind of cool. And I think that It was nice to be able to play with the different chord progressions and modulations, not have any issues there. Sensational, great storytelling as well. Like the expression of it is palpable. It's just a good vibe, even though they're sorry. They sound really sincere about it. The track itself is split in two, with the keys at the start there, the twinkle of those there, which is absolutely gorgeous there. When you start very quiet, don't you? And like those builds there and the little legato passages and stuff like that. And you get into the full entire chorus here. We move into like a mixture of the guitar, bass, key, drum elements there, with the brass as well being really full on. And I think that what I like about this is that even though it's quite a complicated arrangement, once the brass comes in and there's like that kind of get it going for attention with Khalil Fong and the Frequency Spectrum, Khalil is more sort of like stands their ground, and then the brass inevitably kind of like dances around them between the sides of the stereo field in that similar frequency band. But like they're very fragrant and they're kind of soft, and like even if there are like accented notes there, that Khalil comes up with them, which is cool. I think that the guitars on the side have a kind of jazzy intonation to them. Great extensions in those paces with the picked patterns there. Interesting hammer and pull off parts as well, which are kind of sick. The bass line low end kind of resonates with the root notes there, but backs them up. Great firm sense of groove with the drums there, working well, with interesting kick and snare patterns there, and just the tightness overall of the piece. The way things come together. Just the way things come together with the little flows and like the little ride cymbals at the end and stuff like that is just wonderful. We just smashed it. And the instrumentalists are onto it just as much as Khalil Fong is. They've got a great awareness of each other. With these different sections, there are different sides potentially to what Khalil Fong is talking about, but it feels well connected. And I think ultimately you have these parts that are really tightly played and they niche well, amalgamate well in the overall harmony. You have the studio production commercial grade. There's absolutely no issues with this. I think that, again, it's just the dynamic range is like a very special thing for me, just the way it comes up and down. Those fades in or rises up there. It's just sensational. It's like air candy, if that makes sense. I like listening to Khalil Fong stuff. It's not always the most like intense experience, but what it's definitely fulfills its role as like a real kind of sweet sort of like I suppose sensual experience, if that makes sense. So thank you to do we have that? That is from Rufo. Thank you to Rufo for that. I appreciate it. Did we not do that one? We've done the one for both of them, I think, at this point. So I've done that was from Rufo. Thank you very much. We've done the one for Shinyuda before. That was Sorry. We have 2 more tracks left for today. We have hang on. Blue Dinner Box says Khalil Fong just released a new song days ago. Do you like it, Blue Dinner Box? Do you like the song that Khalil Fong released? Do you think it's worth a listen? It's only 23. It's only 23. Are they only 23 at this part? Crazy. They're quite young. They're doing quite well for themselves if they're making music at this kind of level of maturity so young. That's awesome, dude. Fantastic. Thank you for letting me know. I appreciate it. The next track, I think, is from Shinyuda, and then we've got one more from Alvin, and I think we will be completed for today. I wasn't sure if it was going to be a busy section today, but it turned out to be. That's cool. And thank you for your question, Yuda. Here, this track from an act named, I don't know, we will find out. League of Legends. Do you like League of Legends, Shinyuda? The new song's name is only 23. Thank you very much. I appreciate that, Rufo. That's cool. So I would say Khalil Fong would be a little bit older than 23 at this point, but I get what you're saying. Oh no, Rufo, I didn't add your one before. I'm sorry, Rufo. I'll add your one too. It was like sorry, Khalil Fong on Spotify. So that was after that. So we had Rufo. It's only 20. Sorry, Khalil Fong on Spotify, and then this one is Get Jinxed featuring Derv, League of Legends. Now, I have watched this one before. I am semi-familiar with League of Legends, but I do enjoy it. So thank you, Shinyida, for this request. Get Jinxed. Let's do it. What do we got? Oh, it's a little monkey. Oh. There's no subtitles available. Joke. Excellent. Really solid start to a track, eh? And how that note, yeah. Oh, that was fantastic. Hey, League of Legends. This makes me want to play it again, kind of. Yeah, man. That's cool. That reminds me of League of Legends pretty hard, man. It's a good game. It really makes me want to go play League of Legends, but I could never cope with the chat, man. It was too toxic. I was not a thin-skinned dude. So that was Get Jinxed featuring Jurv, the official music video for League of Legends. So, or an official music video for League of Legends. I think that was really fun. Jurv's vocals are tremendous. They suit the kind of the vibe of Jinx so well. They're kind of chaotic there, wanting to destroy the world because they're bored, basically, you know, getting all sorts of mischief. They're kind of like Harley Quinn on steroids, right? I adore it. I think that there's a great how to describe it? It's a piece where like you kind of get so much expression from Jurv with the way that they vocalize and express themselves, and it builds the character up really neatly. And then you just have someone who can also really sing really well, and with vocal fry and all sorts of fun stuff happening in the chorus sections. But it's just in the chorus, bum bum bum. They go down for that kind of really kind of devious sounding chord, and they really commit to the root note of it. Bum bum bum. Or maybe they go to the fifth and they harmonize on the fifth neatly of that like diminished chord there, and it's just so edgy sounding. It's so satisfying, and it suits the very sort of like bass drum, Alex sort of synth, and it suits the arrangement incredibly well. Because I feel like if you had just stuck to the notes within the key sig and played nice and not had any sort of chromatics, it would have just been a little bit too clean sounding there. There's a lot of really cool stuff happening within the various sections there, but ultimately I think the hook is where a lot of the magic is. And you just honestly, like, the music video is dope as well. I like the animations and watching through that. It's and it's ultimately the charisma of the vocalist with the vocal technique on display there. The excitement with the arpeggios going on with the synth leads across the choruses and stuff like that are fantastic as well. And it's great sense of pace there with the quarter note groove on the drums as well. Things keep moving and keep pushing forward. The bass is repugnant in your face and sort of forcing its way through your sort of like headphones as well. And yeah, it's how the synths and the strings harmonize as well, and they kind of move in different directions. And it's very it's invigorating. It kind of makes you want to get sort of involved in that again. And I don't know why it makes me want to play League again, but it kind of does. It's tight. I'm just going to just quickly check in case I missed anything. Yeah, and how it goes halftime in some of those verse sections and interludes and stuff like that. I like the fact that it slows down there because it gives that chorus more push when things go full bore again. Kind of really gets you hyped up for more. I think that's really clever as well. Yeah. Honestly, like, I don't really see how they could have improved that. The studio recording is commercial grade. It tells you a lot about the character and it invites you to try the game. It gets you hyped for that too. So good job. I feel like I'm sort of like repeating myself on certain elements there. So what happens, you get to the end of a live stream, but we're good. We got one more track, I think. One more. From this was from Shinyadar as well. Thank you, Shinyadar, for putting this forward. Did any of the other League of Legends characters have their own music videos, or is it just Jinx at this point in time? It'd be interesting to know. I know she was a poster child for a while, but I understand there's a lot more stuff going on with League since then. League's a huge game. Anyways, we've got Alvin's. Alvin's the last track for today. With Alvin K. It was good to get a request through, my dude. And Alvin says, the new song by Khalil Fong is a nice trip back in time. Makes me want to return to my past. Yeah, well, honestly, like, I can relate to that with just listening to Get Jinxed. So that was dope. It can be good to have that nostalgia, right? But this is a track from an act named Youngjima, titled Light, if I'm not mistaken. So we'll find that on YouTube, and this will be the last one for today. Let's go. Let's do it. Oh, this is very relaxed in comparison to the previous piece, isn't it? Oh, it's gorgeous. Those highs, though, man. Great drum grooves as well. Interesting drum kit he's got there as well. I like the variation of some stuff he's got. Keys as well, nice. we photoing the kid? That was incredible. How they knew to come in at the same time. What that just it was so. That's just muscle memory for them, coming in with that kind of bluntness with like the vocals and bass and the guitar like that. That was tremendous. I'm not sure how to approach that one. I'm not sure what the track is about apart from being about light. I'm not sure how much of that I was supposed to get through, but it was sort of a surreal experience listening to that. Youngjima with light. Clearly they can sing really well. Almost just tight. They had this interesting legato technique where I'm not sure if that was like a certain style, but it's not one I hear often, and it was distinct. And they were having such an intense experience throughout the track there. We built up as we went along. We illustrated great vocal technique and dynamic range, and built the song up in part, I think, because of the way we sung the vocals. The guitar, bass, drums, and keys, we brought things up on those as well as we went along there, and there were some interesting patterns on each of those, but the singer was the focal point, and no one was ever trying to sort of like interfere with that or interrupt that. I think part of the magic of this piece was simply that they knew how to interact with each other and build that motif for those various sort of like sections in a way that was meaningful and made sense. There were some interesting passages across the different instrumental parts, such as across the different verse and chorus parts, I assume. With the drummer in particular being one I was paying attention to, there was some filtering going on with the drums there. I wasn't necessarily sure how to sort of take it initially, because it sounded like the snit they were being brought up like artificial or something like that, and I couldn't understand it, but I suppose it's more or less kind of meant to kind of sort of illustrate that you are sort of like going up with the rest of the band. They're trying to sort of make them more literal with the production, the sound on the drums, the flexibility across different cymbal patterns there, making the most of the drum kit they have there with all the different hits they have, with kind of resorting to those more traditional sort of like snare kick and hi-hat patterns there. moving with some occasional sort of like ways to break up like the halfways of choruses by starting with some toms and sort of some accents on those though to kind of thump in the eighths. But you know, there was a lot of there were different grooves, and they never felt too sort of alien to the overall motif of what we sort of had before. It was a very smooth experience in part. I think part of that was also the guitar that we had at the beginning there, like the reverbs and delays and the guitar tone at the beginning was very sort of like mystical. As Alvin's case is, it brings you into a trance. Yeah, absolutely. I think that's designed to do that. It's meant to be sort of like a very kind of all-encompassing kind of hypnotic experience, and I think that they managed to pull it off pretty well. The crowd were totally into it, man. The lady was making eye contact with him as well. Singers from Tibet, very low key. It was sort of like a otherworldly experience there. It's kind of spooky in a sense, but like it seemed like a very, very intense experience. Like apparently the song Light is written for the sages, whose body had passed away, but soul will remain as light shining in the world. And I kind of get the feeling that it's almost like where we're kind of mourning the loss of those people. But what I get from light, you know, those lights for shining in the world. It's sad. There's a sadness in the vocal performance I think is carried by the chord progressions and melodies that we play with the guitars. The bass line is supportive of the guitar parts there with its own bit of personality with some of the stops that we have at the start of the transfers between sections, but it never tries to overshadow too much. The keys, they come in more so in that mid-range there, and they articulate the mids to highs in a way that's very satisfying there. It's a clean tone there, trying to sort of emulate some of the analogs of the others, but sort of niches into the overall arrangement very well. They pay attention to each other. There are turns. Not everyone is playing at the same time. There's development over time. Things get louder and more full sounding within the composition. And ultimately, you have a track which does sound like it's trying to be a big journey that you're going on there, filling it out. If you close your eyes, you're surrounded by the music. There was a bit of a little bit of kind of a digital distortion happening when we push some of those vocal parts there. I'm wondering if it was just a bit too hot on the mic channel for the singer. There's a bit of like fragmenting and stuff like that. But aside from that, it was wonderful. It was a really well performed, incredibly tight performance, incredibly competent performance from the musicians involved. And they did really well showcasing their talents as well as providing a really enthralling experience for those that were there as well as for us watching it. And I haven't listened to much of Jung Ji-ma, but I think they're wonderful and they do a great job. And I hope they're continuing to make music and that they're having a good time. Either way, well done to them for the work that they've done with this. It's a fantastic track, and I'm glad to be able to have heard it because this for us is the end of the live stream. Thank you, Alvin, for that last track there from Jung Ji-ma, Total Light. Thank you to Sweet Lily Love, Dinner Hay, Rufo, Shinyida, Jacob, as well as Andreas and Alvin K for your requests today. I think it's been a while since we had that many different people requesting stuff, and I appreciate it. It's been great to listen through a lot of really cool music. I'm going to go get some food. Hopefully you guys found some tracks you liked. Hopefully you guys are going to have a fantastic weekend. I think I got all the videos done for the Patreon stuff, but if you're wanting a video done, please let me know. I can get it done soon for you. You're welcome, Melvin. Have a great evening. And yeah, stay cool, stay safe, and please remember to support your local musicians and artists at this point in time as they need the help more than ever with all the crazy stuff going on in the world. And I will catch you in the next live stream. Spiderhands out. 3, 2